You've taken us through a lot of what's happening or what happened, and if you really, as I see it, if you really see a common thread right across the whole thing, is, and you use the word political philology. If you really look at that single thread that goes through, there is a tremendous sense of political hegemony which has fostered this kind of assault on Sanskriti. We see this happening today. You mentioned the Hindu. I would like to recall a few weeks back, the Hindu carried an article saying that Gita Press is actually a publication that was started by Marwaris to oppress the scheduled castes and other religions, which is, I mean, we all know it's nonsense. But the political patronage and political hegemony is actually fueling the whole thing, continues to fuel this, and we see this in the last few days. The most important thing is, a lot of these kind of discussions which happens in portals of institutes will really have to go down. You briefly touched on Vyavaharika. I would assume it's execution down to the practical common masses. And that's where the political hegemony really puts a huge obstacle for spreading the truth. Okay, so how do you counter this? And I understand that it's not going to happen overnight. But are we running out of time? I mean, it could happen in 10 years' time, 15 years' time. But 15 years, 10 years, it's easy to do a lot of bad than do a lot of good. No, so how do you do this?
Yeah, I'm very glad you raised this. There is a sense of urgency. I have, and you have. Many of our people think it's 50 years, 100 years away and they'll be dead, so it doesn't matter. But I don't believe that. You know, South Korea, from the time the Christian population was 2-3%, it had been around 0 to 3% for a long time. Once it crossed this 4-5%, from there to reach 60-70% happened in one generation. I mean, they just did it. I believe that we may be suddenly surprised by this huge de-Hinduization becoming very official. It has been, unofficially we have de-Hinduized quite a lot. I don't believe we are 80% Hindu. I don't believe so. I believe that maybe the real practicing serious people who will defend Hinduism, who will claim it as their tradition, is like 25%. There is 25% Hindus, and then on the opposite end there's 25% strongly, assertively anti-Hindus in some other camp, and the middle 50% are the confused middle. They are neither here nor there. They're a little bit symbolic here, symbolic there. They'll go to some Sufi festival, and they'll send you a Diwali card. They'll go to some, some Valentine's Day event, and then they'll celebrate something else. They're a little bit all confused people. So I think the problem has been our ashrams, gurus, many of them have not come up with what is non-translatable in Sanskrit, that you cannot translate, you must use it that way. What is not portable ritual or idea, that you cannot replace it with somebody else's. What are poison pills which you must include in your teaching, such that as long as the person includes these things, he is going to be prevented from switching over. You see, the poison pill that Christianity has, brilliant, is that there is one and only Son of God, which is the only method of salvation. That's it. You can go and do puja sitting on the ground, you can eat prasad from other people, you can wear dhotis, you can do arti, you can do all of that. The Christian is allowed to do. You can do all of that, but this one article keeps you Christian. You follow what I'm saying? This one article is a poison pill. This one article is non-negotiable for them. As long as you hang on to this article, you can go and be part of anything you want. You can learn yoga, meditation. You are protected as a Christian because of that one article. Don't give that up. And you can compromise on everything else that does not contradict this particular article. Same way in the Muslims, the idea of the Quran, the finality of the Prophet, and the uniqueness of the Kaaba. I mean, they have things that are non-negotiable, that as long as you believe in those, you are a Muslim, you can go and do whatever else you want. Now, we have not produced this non-negotiable core with the poison pill in it, such that as long as this article is not compromised, these items are not compromised, you can do whatever the heck you want, you will remain a Hindu. That we have not produced, and that is what the acharyas and gurus have to do in their teachings. So I'm writing books on it, and I'm going and talking to some of these guys, and some of them are beginning to include some of these teachings in their talks.
The non-negotiables that you're talking, there are certain non-negotiables even in Sanatan Dharma.
Of course.
Like Dharma, for itself, is non-negotiable.
Right.
But the interpretation is a problem, which is where Sanskrit comes in, because Dharma cannot be translated into any language.
Right.
But my question was on political patronage and political hegemony. I mean, that is far more final, because that is the one that really comes down.
Yeah. See,
so how do you handle that?
Yeah. See, the thing is, unless you have an ideological foundation which is consistent, and you can have many sampradayas, many gurus, many lineages and paramparas and whatnot, but if there is a minimum core agreement, very simple to put in one paragraph, unless there is something like that which is included in every teaching, which is not negotiable, which is told, right, like the gentleman from ISKCON's question before, which is taught to the Westerner right up front, that you are joining a teaching where this is an important part of it. And you want to come, you come, we want you to come, otherwise, you can't expect to come without this. This is an article of faith that you have to subscribe to. This requires courage and not fear of facing and confronting. And what we have done is, not only others are confused about who we are and the membership, our own people are walking away. The day before, I was in Bangalore with a major organization's person who is in their global executive committee, I don't want to name, and they teach everything is the same. They teach for a long time, a very prominent, prestigious organization, Hindu organization. So this person was very angry at the rapid conversion. He was saying, wherever I go, I don't see Hindu values, and people are quickly moving this way, that way. We may not have anything left in 10 years, and what are we to do? We ought to do. He was very much kind of panic-stricken talk, like yours talk, but he was wearing saffron and very concerned. Until I said to him, but don't you think one of the problems is those organizations that are going on teaching that all the religions are the same, and then they're concerned and angry when the result is this. If all religions are the same, why are you angry? He didn't have an answer at that time. So we have that problem. His problem starts with the top.
Thank you, sir.
If it is proven that Newton was a badmash, he was a scoundrel, then aeroplane will not start falling down because gravitation is gone. The nature of reality is independent of how somebody is understanding it.